Well, howdy there, Internet people, it's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump influence operations in Greenland and what Americans should take away from it. The top U.S. diplomat in Denmark was summoned by the foreign ministry there. The topic of discussion? Alleged pro-American influence operations in Greenland. A statement from the foreign minister said, quote, "We are aware that foreign actors continue to show interest in Greenland and its position in the Kingdom of Denmark. It is therefore not surprising if we experience outside attempts to influence the future of the kingdom in the time ahead. Any attempt to interfere in the internal affairs of the kingdom will, of course, be unacceptable." All of this is happening after a report from a Danish outlet suggesting that 3 Americans with ties to Trump have been running influence operations in Greenland. Greenland is an autonomous territory in the kingdom. Denmark is a longtime ally of the United States, with the roots of the alliance going back to the 1800s. For more than half a century, Denmark and the U.S. have been in a formal military alliance through NATO. A U.S. State Department spokesperson said the U.S. doesn't control the actions of private citizens, and that, quote, "The President, the Vice President, and the Secretary of State have all been clear. The United States respects the right of the people of Greenland to determine their own future." The Danish intelligence service indicated it was aware of various influence operations, and that generally they're aimed at creating discord in the relationship between Denmark and Greenland. This is where Americans need to pay attention. This issue is obviously going to seriously damage the U.S. relationship with Denmark and other European allies. But beyond that, Americans need to understand the dynamics. Influence operations are often aimed at breaking down a country's alliances with other nations, to leave the target nation weak and alone. In the United States, adversarial nations have often sought to influence U.S. sentiment against our traditional European allies, as well as amplify domestic discord. If the U.S. was separated from its European allies, both the European allies and the United States are immeasurably weaker. Adversarial nations know that a large part of America's superpower status comes from strong alliances with Europe and Australia. Without those alliances, the U.S. loses a lot of its military, economic, and political influence on the world stage. As we watch a developing news story that may depict the attempt to split apart a long-standing relationship so that one entity becomes weak enough to be gobbled up, it's important to remember that the United States isn't immune to this exact type of operation. Some would argue that many Americans have adopted positions that are leading to the United States becoming a second-tier power through economic, military, and political isolation. The U.S. emerged as a superpower at the end of World War II because of its military strength. It remained a superpower even after other nations also harnessed the destructive power of the atom, because of the economic and military alliances formalized in the immediate aftermath of World War II. Those alliances were America's insurance policies. Those systems are currently being abandoned in large part because American citizens have grown complacent and feel entitled to the superpower status they've enjoyed their entire lives. We've become the spoiled, entitled teen who knows they can make it on their own if they move out. If the U.S. abandons its allies, it will discover, just like that teen, that mommy and daddy were paying bills they didn't even know about. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.